I see lots of familiar faces, which is wonderful. So we're here to talk about unsticking your health. So not one specific health condition. I usually talk about gut health is the thing I speak about most often. But tonight you can be here for any health concern, and it's going to be all about how to follow through on those goals that sometimes seem really hard to stick with. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's do this. All right. There's like 8 million options. I'm going to go with this one. All right. Can you guys see that? Perfect. Awesome. All right. So let's see if this works. Did it change slides for you? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Perfect. So this is one of my favorite mugs in the world because healthy isn't a goal, it's a way of living. If I had seen this mug like 15 years ago, I think I would have rolled my eyes at it and probably tossed it at a wall. Because what exactly does it mean to live in a way that creates health, right? But because I have spent the last 15 years as a naturopath, and I've been super lucky to meet tons of patients along the way, I now actually love this mug. And it's one of the things that inspired me to give this presentation in this talk, because it can be really hard to figure out what is that way of living that creates a balanced health at the end of the day, right? And so I've done a lot of research on this. I've experimented on myself. I've applied this to patients, and I've come up with a system that is fairly simple and straightforward. It's what I'm going to walk through with you guys tonight. A really simple way of figuring out what your health goals are, but more importantly, how you're going to actually stick with them and see them through. All right, so I have a question for you guys. I love for these things to be interactive. I'm hoping someday very soon we can actually be in the actual natural food pantry live location, sitting around together in chairs. But until then, I invite you, turn on your camera, engage. No one's looking at you guys, don't worry. And I'm going to invite you to answer this question. So how balanced do you think your health is? A, very balanced, like a finely tuned scale. Actually, you don't even know why you're in this presentation here right now. Time to go home. 2, B, pretty good. I pay attention to my health, but I could use some improvement. C, so-so. You try, but you have yet to find the balance. Or D, what you talking about? I haven't balanced anything since I wrote a teeter-totter when I was 5 years old. Okay, let me see if I can see where the chats are. Oh, there they are. Cameron says B and looking to be an A. Love it. Lots of B's. C. Hey, Lizzie. C, B, C. Amazing. Okay, good. So you guys, you can see you're kind of, a lot of you are in the same place, right? Somewhere between the B and the C. So I'm really glad you guys are here because we're going to learn about what is balanced health and how to get there. So if you want to, there's a worksheet to fill out that goes along with tonight's talk. You're welcome to go to that site. Natasha, do you think you could pop it in the chat for people to click on? That would be awesome. It is a Google worksheet, so you can hit the copy, make a copy, and then you'll be able to work directly on it. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to do that. Don't stress if you don't want to do that or you don't know how to. Just grab a pen and paper. You can follow along with everything just using pen and paper. You don't have to download the worksheet. But I know some of you guys are like ambitious and you like to have those kinds of things. So there's the link. You can do it on your phone or your iPad too, or from your computer. Just remember to hit where it says make a copy. And then if someone can just throw in the chat when they've done that, so I have an idea of like how long it's taking you guys to do this. A little bit of tech skills involved as well. Might be on your goal list. Cameron says done. Awesome. We'll wait for maybe 1 or 2 more before we get started with that. And if you're done, you can take a sip of water because that's what we do when we're waiting around here. Amanda says don't, but I think she means done. Laura's done. Awesome. Okay, good. Perfect. So I'm going to invite you guys to get started. Lucy, do pen and paper, no problem. I invite you to write down one health goal. Just one goal, whatever you want to work on. So Carol, just hit make a copy and then you'll be able to access it. I'm not giving you my username and password. All right. So when you guys are done with writing down your health goal, just take a sip of water. If you have a cup near you, it lets me see at a glance how many people are where we need to be. It also sneakily gets you to drink the entire time we're doing this presentation. All right. Some sips of water happening. Everyone's got their health goal written down. Awesome. Keith's working on more energy. Someone else want to throw what they wrote down in their health goal? Build more muscle, lean out. Awesome. Thank you. Better digestion. Awesome. We can help you afterwards, Carol, if you want to just do it with pen and paper for now. Reduce anxiety. Exercise more or less reading. Awesome. Good. These are great goals. Fantastic. Okay. So before Jennifer, consistency, amazing. So before we jump into the specifics of balanced health and what all that means, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I do recognize a lot of faces here tonight, more than I expected. So that's pretty fun that a lot of you guys already know who I am. But as Natasha said in her intro, I'm the owner of Somerset Health and Wellness Center. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I've been a naturopathic doctor for 15 years. I got two little rugrats, Lily and Finn, and Mr. Finn is actually turning 9 tomorrow, and Lily is 12. And then I have a third fluff baby named Ginger, who is secretly my favorite of the three, maybe not such a big secret. And she comes to work with me and hangs out with me there. And yeah, like Natasha said, I do love cross-country skiing. I have yet to convince my kids to fall in love with cross-country skiing. If anyone has any tips on how to do that, I am all ears. And I do love a little bit of whiskey now and again, basically. So I'm sure a lot of you guys know what naturopathic medicine is because you know me and you're familiar with it, but I'll give a rundown for those of you that may not know too much about naturopathic medicine. But basically, as a naturopathic doctor, I get trained the same way as your family doctor does. I'm trained to diagnose and treat disease, but the difference is really in the type of medicine that we use and the fact that I'm trying to look for more of the root cause of what's going on. So oftentimes when we go see maybe a conventional doctor, we're going to be looking for a Band-Aid to our health problems. So I'm gonna pick on someone here. Keith, familiar face. So let's say Keith comes to see me with headaches, for example, right? So a Band-Aid solution to that could be, okay, Keith, you need to take Advil every day for your headache, basically. And if we do that kind of thing, what we end up with is health stagnation, right? Keith's health isn't really going to continue to improve or change in any substantial way. And we're going to end up with more Band-Aids down the road, maybe from taking the Advil, he's going to start to have stomach problems and ulcers, and then we need a Band-Aid for that. What we do as naturopathic doctors is we dig a little bit deeper. So I would work with Keith, for example, to figure out why you're getting the headaches. Are you getting them maybe because you're not hydrated enough? Or maybe you're getting them because your blood sugar is not balanced well enough. And once we figure that piece out, that is what we start to work on to get deeper into the root cause and actually eliminate it once and for all. And that's how we actually end up with a health transformation. So that is naturopathic medicine in a 1-minute nutshell. And so I know that you guys probably have some assumptions about me since you now know that I'm a naturopathic doctor. And I know this because people say these things to me all the time. So I'm going to just take some guesses and you let me know if I'm completely wrong. But one thing I know that you probably think about me is that I eat a lot of kale, right? I know you guys are jumping to conclusions that she probably eats a lot of kale. The second thing you probably assume about me is that I eat a lot of hummus. Neither of which are true, but I know people, they always think that they know this about me. And then you probably assume that I exercise every day, that my kids only eat healthy food. You might assume that I never get sick. Actually, as we speak, my whole family is coming down with COVID. Karen, I was wrong. The first test was negative. The second test was positive. So we do get sick as well, for sure. And you might even assume that I'm always just this happy. And my mom is on the call and she can tell you firsthand that that's not true. And so this has not always been the case for me. I can say that for the most part nowadays, I'm very healthy and very happy, definitely a lot more than I used to be, but it was not my story for the longest time, as my mom can corroborate. So I wanted to share a little bit with you guys about my health history so that I can show you how important it is to set health goals that we can actually stick with. So this is way too much information, but this is how I roll. I expect this of my clients and I get to share everything with you guys too. So for the longest time, out of nowhere, I would just get hit with the worst symptoms. Even from the time that I was a little kid, I was sick a lot of the time. I had chronic ear infections. I had lots of antibiotics as a child. Even as a small baby, my mom would say, you know, you just wouldn't gain weight. And then we figured out that you were sensitive to dairy. By age 12, I had chronic headaches. At 14, I had my adenoids and my tonsils taken out. At 16, I got mono and missed the last 3 months of my high school, which really sucked. I developed asthma at 18. I was put on puffers and steroids. I was always tired. I remember being in university and living with roommates, and they would wonder why every day I'd get home from my university classes and I would have to lie down and take a nap. It was not cool at all. And then in my 20s, I developed irritable bowel syndrome and started to, you know, have diarrhea episodes out of nowhere and crippling belly cramps. It was really like on and on and on, the list of things that I was struggling with. And so here they all are: anal fissures, super fun, heartburn, and then weight gain as I aged. So the weird thing is, like, nobody seemed to know what was wrong with me. And I'm sure some of you guys here can relate to that, of going to see your family doctor and asking for solutions, for tests to be done. I was so young, but I felt so old. Like at this point, I was in my early 20s. And I was just like, why can nobody give me any answers as to what is going on? So what did I do? I did what any reasonable person would do. I became a naturopathic doctor. I was so frustrated. I thought, you know what? If they can't figure it out, I'm going to figure it out for myself. Now, I'm not suggesting that you guys have to go off and become a naturopath to figure out your health problems, although it's a pretty cool profession. Highly recommend it. But it actually worked out for me. At the end of the day, naturopathic medical school taught me everything that I did need to know about my physical body. It really helped me solve a lot of my health mysteries. By the time I graduated, I had discovered that I basically had been eating all the wrong foods. I realized I had a dairy and a gluten intolerance. I had a ton of nutrient deficiencies. I had small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which was causing my irritable bowel syndrome. I wasn't eating the right balance of carbs and proteins and fats. So I learned all of these super helpful things. And by the time I left naturopathic medical school, I had a really clear sense of what I needed to do to keep myself healthy. I knew that I had to take certain supplements to replenish my deficiencies. I knew that I had to exercise a certain amount every day. I knew what foods I should and should not be eating. So what do you guys think? Do you think I actually followed through on all of the things that I learned in naturopathic medical school? When I graduated, I started exercising. You can be honest and put it in the chat. I will not be offended. What did I do with all this information? Mom, no cheating. She has the intel knowledge. Cameron, maybe not everything. Yep. Maybe not everything. That was an understatement. I couldn't even stick to something as simple as taking my B12 supplement, which I knew was going to help me. Yes, exactly, Amanda. Nothing until a crisis, right? So here I am in Paris, maybe 8 years after I graduated, 6 years after I graduated. And there I am with a bag of food that within hours was going to leave me crippled in bed for the next 24 hours. I knew when I went to buy that meal that I was going to feel like shit. And I did it anyway. It was the craziest thing. I was like, why am I doing this? Why do I keep setting these health goals and not being able to follow through on it? It was ridiculous. And so over the years, I would see the same pattern with my patients, right? I would meet them a couple times. We would start to uncover, okay, if you do this and follow this, you're going to feel better. And we would start to discover what they needed to do to get well. And they would come back after a few weeks and be like, oh, Dr. Jen, I don't understand why. I just keep forgetting to take my supplements. Or I couldn't help it. I ended up eating, a bag of bread, even though I know it's going to make me feel terrible. So I spent a lot of time researching and figuring out what it is about us that causes us to make these choices and to sabotage our own health, essentially. And what I came up with at the end of the day was a system that's actually pretty simple. And some of you may even already done part of it and elements of it, but we're going to walk through it together today. And what I want is for you guys to walk away tonight with a goal that you're actually going to follow through on and feel so good and proud about yourself for doing. And you're going to prove to yourself that you can set a health goal that will stick and be able to transform your health. All right, so this is what we're going to cover. We're going to cover what is balanced health in a nutshell and what it is not. We're going to go over where you're stuck in your health right now. And then the last step is going to be actually setting your health goals. Okay, you guys game? Everyone's still good? Awesome. Okay, so I want to hear from you guys if you can throw in the chat. That's a great question, Cheryl. Let's keep that for the end. We can chat about that when we have a bit of time at the end. So what are some obstacles to achieving your health goal? We look back at the goal that you wrote at the top of your page. What are some obstacles that jump to mind for you? Too busy? Food, time, children, time. Those children take a lot of time. I don't know. No one ever really tells you until you got them. Too busy. Yeah. So time. Yeah. Time, right, is a big one. Energy. Yeah. Of being too exhausted to do something. Money. Yes. A lot of people say it costs a lot of money. Cravings. Yeah. These are great. So you can see there's a lot of commonalities. Shelly's chocolate. Yeah. So there's a lot of commonalities, right, between you guys. A lot of similarities. Okay. So what is balanced health? We need to know, what are we working towards here, right, at the end of the day? So I'm going to ask you guys a question and I want you to answer true or false. Health is the absence of disease. True or false? Jenny's cheating. She's been my patient for a long time. Good health, true. You guys are brilliant. Yes. False. So true health is the balance of mind, body, and spirit. What are we talking about, Jen? What are you talking about? What do you mean the balance of mind? You lost us. What happened? So let's just chat about this for 2 seconds. Bear with me. Mind. The element of a person that enables them to be aware of their world and their experiences. So consciousness and thought. Body, pretty obvious, right? This is really what most people come to see me for. Jen, I got something wrong with my body. It hurts, this, da. That's super easy. And then spirit. I lose everybody at spirit. What? Boop, gone out the door. Don't disappear. Don't disappear. It's all good. We're going to bring it all together. Okay, so all three things, when they are working together, is when you achieve truly balanced health. And we're going to start to figure out what that means. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of a goal that I have set for myself in the past. And like I said, I'm a believer in like vulnerability and oversharing. So you guys are going to get to hear way too much information. But my goal for as long as I can remember is basically been to lose weight. Not many people I tell that to, but now I'm telling it to, I don't know, like 80, 40 people. And for as long as I've had a body, I have been unhappy with my weight. I swear, I think I was like birthed this way or something. As soon as I popped out, no matter what size I was, I did Weight Watchers, I did Suzanne Summers Body Zone, I did Dukan diet, keto, you name it, I have done a diet to lose weight. So there's the picture, the stock photo, right, of like weight loss, which this stock photo cracks me up because it's like, if only it was as simple as having a little lemon water and lifting a 1 pound weight every day, we would all be like our ideal body weight, right? It's ridiculous. Okay, so here I am as usual on my journey of trying to lose weight, and I decide to hire yet another personal trainer. This is several years ago now. So I go see this personal trainer. His name is Pedja, and he asks me, "What's your goal, Jen? Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, I want to lose weight." Okay, I have given this goal to many a nutritionist and trainer over the years, and everyone else just accepts it at face value. They're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You know, most people want to lose weight. No, not Pedja. He's like, "Jen, why do you want to lose weight?" And I said, "Well, because I want to stop spending so much time every day thinking about food. It takes up way too much of my energy." And he said, "Okay, why do you want more energy?" I said, "Well, I want more energy because I want to experience more joy in my life." He said, "Why do you want more joy?" I said, "Well, I want to feel lighthearted and I want to have better relationships." He said, "Why do you want to have better relationships?" I said, "Because relationships are the most important thing in my life." It's going to make me cry. And he said, "Which relationships are most important to you?" And I said, the relationship I have with my kids." And then I started to cry, just like I feel like doing now, even though I've practiced this and I didn't cry. And so, you know, when you burst into spontaneous tears in front of your personal trainer, you've probably hit the nail on the head, right? And I stopped and I was like, what the hell just happened there? Like, how did this guy go from getting me thinking my goal was weight loss to me in reality putting 2 and 2 together and figuring out that I actually wanted to have a better relationship with my kids? It was the first time in my life that I made that connection, that my desire to lose weight had nothing to do with that number on the scale that I had been obsessed with for so many years. It had everything to do with having a fulfilling and healthy relationship with my kids. And that was the game changer. It was the missing piece. It completely transformed the food choices that I made from that day forward, and whether or not I decided to show up and do my exercise. Because no, I wasn't doing it anymore as a self-punishment. I wasn't doing it to have a specific number on the scale. I was doing it because I wanted to have a better relationship with my kids, which I had not even realized was one of my core values. I had no clue. I had never even taken a moment to sit back and figure out what my core values actually were. I just thought I wanted to be skinnier. It was the craziest thing. So I want you guys to go back and look at that goal that you wrote down at the top of your page and ask yourself, why do you want to achieve that goal? Why do you want to achieve that goal? And is that goal truly encompassing body, mind, and spirit? So if you guys have the worksheet, you have the question in front of you. If not, you're going to fill in this sentence. I want to, write in your goal, because. And if you're not sure and you're like, I can't come up with the why, do the 5 whys. So answer it the first time. Why? Give yourself some crappy answer, and then ask why again and dig deeper. And if you can't do that to yourself, find someone that can do that for you. The 5 whys. All right. Let's give you guys a minute to write that down. When you're done, have a sip of water so I can see that you're ready to move on. So I'm going to make a very bold statement. If you don't know the why of your goal, it's garbage. You may as well just Tell yourself today you're not going to follow through on it, because you won't, as I've seen it, because I've done it. All right, are people drinking water? Okay, good. We ready to move on? Awesome. Thank you, Karen, for taking your sip of water. All right. So what are your core values? Some of you may have done this exercise. If not, you can never do your core value exercise too many times. What are your core values? I'm going to invite you guys to choose 3 of them. I'm going to give you some inspiration, but these are just a few options. So happiness, success, community, nature, wealth, power, knowledge, adventure, affection. Like the list goes on and on and on. Use your gut instincts on this. Do not overthink it. Sometimes they'll get you to write down 10 and then you narrow it down to 3. You know, we're on a bit of a time crunch. So when we do this in a longer workshop, we do that kind of thing. But right now I'm going to invite you to just use your instincts on it and just come up with 3 core values that really ring true to you. And if you're really struggling with this and you're like, I have no clue what my core values are, then I'm going to encourage you, when this talk is over, maybe tomorrow when you have a cup of tea in your hand, I'm going to invite you to write your own obituary, which sounds super grim. But when you write your own obituary, you will come very quickly to answering what you want your legacy to be, what your core values are, and how you want to be remembered. Thanks, Shelley. It's nice to see you. So if you're really stuck on it, I really encourage you to do that. It's a pretty amazing exercise and you will zero in on these core values pretty quickly. Okay, awesome. So you have your goal, you have your why, and you have your 3 core values. When you guys are ready, take a sip of water. Let me know that you're ready to roll. Awesome. Hi, Lucy. Thanks, Cameron. All right. Okay, so back to this mind, body, spirit thing. I know it's back. Didn't let you guys get off the hook too quickly. All right. So this is an exercise that I get most of my patients to do with me as a way to figure out how they're going to achieve balanced health. And if balanced health is a balance between mind, body, and spirit, how do we break that down into something more tangible? Like that is so out here. I know that's out here. Oh my God, how do we bring that down into something that I actually have control over? So what I'm going to invite you to do is to draw a circle. Some of you already have the sheet and it already has your circle on it. And I'm going to invite you to think about 5 areas of health. So 5 key factors in our health that we all need, that we all have control over, that really, when they're all in place, we have amazing optimal health. Can you guys think of one thing that we need to focus on? I know some of you guys have done this with me and that's okay. You can add it in there. Recovery kind of falls, sleep. Thank you, Jenny. Yes, so sleep is going to go in there. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys to make some pies. Let's divide this circle into 5 zones, 5 little pieces of pie. Amazing. So yes, in one of them, write sleep. In another one, write water. Donna! Food. Amazing. Nutrition. Yeah, so you can put nutrition in one of them, or food. Thank you, Karen. Movement. And the last one's always tricky. It's mindset. So whoever wrote recovery, sorry, I lost your name. We're all the way back here. Amanda, recovery. I would probably put recovery under mindset. Probably. We could argue about a lot of things, but I would say probably put it under mindset. Okay, amazing. So now you have your 5 zones. These are the things that you really have to make decisions about every single day, right? So what I'm going to invite you to do is just think quickly. Okay, in terms of movement, how you doing? How you doing in terms of movement? And give yourself a little arc of where you feel like you're landing in that zone of health right now. So water for me, it always scores kind of low, which is why I tend to force you guys and myself to drink. Otherwise, I'll go through a presentation for an hour and a half, and literally have not drank a sip of water. So go through and do that quickly for each of them. Don't spend too long thinking about it. And when you're done doing that, I invite you to connect them all together so that it makes a wibbly wobbly circle. And just take a moment and look at your wibbly wobbly circle. Okay, so the goal with this is not that everybody has a massive perfect wheel, like 10 out of 10 on everything. That is not the goal here. The goal here is to have balance between the 5 zones. So for example, I have a patient who is so regimented with her exercise. She runs like many kilometers every day, but she will do it to the detriment of her sleep. She will miss meals to run. To me, that's not crushing it in the balanced health department. Yeah, sure, super fit, amazing, and really sacrificing other zones of health. So that is, we don't want everything to be perfect. We want everything to be balanced. Does anyone want to lift up their page so I can take a peek at your circle? Lucy, can you move it over a little bit? The other way. There you go. Nice. Okay, nutrition's low. Okay, good. Good job. Awesome, Karen. Ooh, it's pretty good. Okay, great. Amazing. So, you know what I always ask people is like, would you be able to ride a bicycle on your wheel? A lot of times, no. We're working towards riding a bicycle on our wheel. But what I want to do with you guys tonight is dive a little bit deeper in each of those 5 zones of health. I'm going to guide you through an assessment of yourself that you're going to do. And so you're going to learn a lot more about how you're doing in each of those zones. Okay. And then we're going to start to create some goals based on what you get out of this assessment. All right, here we go. The first part we're going to assess is your nutrition. So you're going to answer these A, B, C, or D. So how many days per week do you eat out? Put an A if it's more than twice a week, B if it's once per week, C if it's a couple times a month, and give yourself a D if it's less than once a month. So just write on your paper A, B, C, or D. And you're welcome to share your answer, but there's going to be a few of them. So you might want to just write it on your paper and then I'll get you to share when it's over. Okay, next question. What percentage of your food is packaged? A, more than 20%, B, 10 to 20, C, less than 10, or D, none. So think of packaged food as like canned food, anything you open like cereals, cookies, crackers, not like, you know, if your broccoli happens to come in plastic wrap, that's not packaged food. It's still a broccoli, even though it's in plastic food. So just think of anything that had to go through a machine process in order to arrive in your mouth. Okay, let me know if I'm going too fast, Natasha. All right, how many different foods do you eat per week? Less than 10, 10 to 20, 30 to 40, more than 40. So when you think of different foods, an apple, a green apple and a red apple are actually 2 different foods, believe it or not. I know they're both in the fruit category, but they're actually different foods. Ginger and parsley, 2 different foods. So if your meal is made up of like chicken and rice and 4 different spices, you actually had 6 different foods. But if all you have for lunch every day is bread and cheese, that's just 2 different foods. Okay, you get what I'm saying? Awesome. All right. So A, B, C, or D. Just write the letter down. Okay. I eat when I am feeling bored, sad, angry, or some other emotion. All the time? Most of the time? Sometimes? Or rarely? What best describes your eating style? What eating style? I skip meals or eat on the go most of the time. None of you guys, I'm sure. B, you're usually watching TV or sitting down at your computer and you scarf down your meal without noticing. C, you sit at the table for most of your meals, but you eat really quickly. Or D, you take a moment, you look at your food, savor it, appreciate it, and it takes you about 20 minutes to eat your meal. Okay. Everybody's done all those? So now you're going to give yourself a score for your nutrition zone. So for anything that you gave yourself an A, you're going to give yourself 1 point. Wherever you wrote a B, 2 points, C, 3 points, and D, 4 points. And then add up all your points for your nutrition score. And you're going to multiply it by 5 to give yourself a percentage. And when you're done doing that, if you can take a sip of water so I can figure out how long it's taking. Right. Karen's on it. Lucy's on it. The 2 people that are in my screen. Kim's like, I don't have water. Sylvia got an 85. Amazing. If anyone else wants to share, Ingrid, drinking your water. Amazing. Michelle, 60. Thank you guys for sharing. This is good. Amanda, little sad face. Okay. Great, you guys. All right. Let's do the next zone. Okay. You ready? Movement. What best describes your movement patterns? A, you are very sedentary and you exercise less than 30 minutes per week. B, you move with your body with some sort of vigorous activity. So, walking around your kitchen doesn't count. Like you actually got to be moving a little bit, getting that heart rate up there. And you do that for 30 to 60 minutes per week. C is if you do that for 60 to 150. And D is if you're active for more than 150 minutes per week. So it's cumulative. It's not that you have to do this all in one time. Okay. You can add up your minutes, even if you take a 20-minute walk every day. All right. Next, your resting heart rate. So the way you take your resting heart rate, if you don't already know, is you take your 2 fingers and you put it on your neck, or you can put it on your wrist. And I will get my timer here, and we'll do it for 15 seconds altogether. Reset this. Everyone ready? Find your pulse and start. Stop. Okay, and then you multiply that by 4 to get how many beats per minute. So you can look at this chart and see, unfortunately, it's a chart for men, but women on average have you can add an extra 5, no problem. So find your age at the top and then find your number. So if your heart rate as a woman was about a 60, then that would actually be excellent. So just look at your age and then look at your number. And you can give yourself a bit of a leeway. Okay, everyone good with that? Awesome. Sips of water. Kim, you're good? You're in my zone now. I can see you, so I'm gonna use you as my gauge. You guys ready to move on? Okay, awesome. All right, this should say push up, not push test results. So push up is a really great way of just measuring your base fitness, essentially. You are welcome to hit the floor right now and figure out how many you can push out. It's basically as many as you can. It can be done on your knees, or the traditional push-up style is fine. And then you can check here, and you can just kind of guesstimate for now and come back to this later if you don't feel like pushing out a bunch of push-ups. But same idea, you look for your age and then you go down. I don't have it for men. For some reason, this chart was specifically for women, but men can typically do a few more than women. Okay, is everyone taking a guess? Awesome. Okay. I rest my body. Never. I'll rest when I'm dead. B, once in a blue moon, like when you're super sick. C, although you try to plan Jennifer, can I show the chart? I didn't make the chart. The chart is made by like, the powers that be. I agree. They end the chart too early. Okay. So A, never. B, once in a blue moon. C, although you try to plan rest, you often find yourself exhausted at the end of the day. And D, you're really in tune with your body's cues for rest and you manage your energy accordingly. Okay. Super important to rest as much as it is for movement. Next up. How often do you engage in playful body movements such as dancing, skipping, or playing sports just for fun? This is not like going to the gym and making yourself do fitness. This is purely for fun. A, why would I do that? I'm not a toddler. B, once in a blue moon. C, once or twice a week. And D, every day. Lucy's getting her dance on now. Amazing. I know some of you guys do the dance class in the membership. I have a membership through my clinic, and it's super fun. There's a really cool dance class. Okay, next, you guys are going to add up your score for movement. So for any A's, you give yourself 1 point. B, you get 2. C, you get 3 points, and D, you get 4. And then add those up and multiply by 5 to get your percentage. And I'd love to see what some of you guys got. $70. Nice. Amanda, that's better than your nutrition score, hey? Ingrid, 80. Wow, amazing. Bridget, 65. Great. Show question 7 again. Yes, I think I can. Let me see. Which one was question 7? I don't have numbers on here. Push up. Nice, Donna. Who asked that question? 3 new messages. The second question, heart rate. Oh, heart rate. Okay. There you go. Okay, so you guys put your scores in here. I want to see how you scored for nice. Good. Okay. All right, let's move back to there. All right, next up, mindset. Okay, I'm going to give a big caveat. Mindset is a huge category to evaluate in only 5 questions. But what I did to come up with these is I looked through the research, and there is really some basic factors that separate out people that have a fairly healthy mindset from those that don't. And so that's how I structured the questions. But obviously, we could go a lot deeper with more time. The other thing that's important to remember is there's a big difference between stress in your life, so having stress, and what do you do with the stress. So everybody thinks their life is the most stressful. It's just how we operate, which is totally fine. We are never going to get rid of the stress in our lives, nor do we want to. Stress is actually, believe it or not, a good thing. What we're trying to work towards is how do we respond to the stress. So it's not about avoiding every single stressful situation and like cutting out all your coworkers that you can't stand and avoiding your mother-in-law. And like, no, it's about how do you actually receive that stress and process it in your body. Okay. So that's what these questions are geared towards. All right, let's go. So I'm willing to take risks and try new things that may seem scary at first. Like, heck no, all the way. Rarely. See, most of the time. D, I'm game for new things anytime. When I think of the primary relationships, so the main key relationships in your life, maybe like pick 3 people that are really in your core circle. We are communicative, respectful, trusting, honest, and treat each other like equals. Never, B, rarely, C, most of the time, D, all of the time. Okay, what do you think of this sentence? Fluctuations in my emotions are natural, and the negative emotions like anger or sadness are just as valuable as the positive emotions. A, they suck. I avoid them at all costs. B, true in theory, but I struggle. C, true, and I'm becoming more aware of them. Or D, true, of course, emotions are just information waves that will pass over me. Okay. When someone violates your boundaries, you feel comfortable saying no to them. Never, rarely, sometimes, but you feel guilty if you do, or whenever you need to. All right, last one. I wonder what other people think of me. Always, sometimes, rarely, or never. Just be honest. Nobody's looking at your answers. All right, let's add up your mindset score. And then take a sip of water, throw some numbers in there so I know everyone's ready to roll. And we got one last one to do.
Somebody's asking for the second question.
Oh, I thought that was from before, but now I see the timestamp is 8:22. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Yes, you multiplied by 5. That's a good question on the second one. So that was the first second. Primary relationships in my life. Is that the one? Awesome. Good. Amanda's shocked, but I don't know if shocked good or shocked the other direction. 75, Karen. Awesome. Bridget, 75. Great. Good. That's a healthy mindset, which makes sense for people that tend to. Sylvia says she assumes not the X. I would include the X in that, believe it or not. I would. All right. Awesome. Okay, good. Let's keep going because I don't want to keep you guys too late. All right, sleep, last category. On average, how many hours per night do you sleep? Sylvia, lowest number. 20. How many hours per night do you sleep? Less than 5, less than 6, less than 7, or 7 to 9? How many times per night do you wake up? A, more than 3, 3, 2, or 0 to 1? When you wake up in the middle of the night, you fall back to sleep within 20 minutes. Never, rarely, sometimes, most of the time. Do you feel rested, restored, and energized when you wake up? Last one, at bedtime, on average, how long does it take you to fall asleep? Oh, there's one more. There's hydration after this. No idea. Over an hour, 30 to 60 minutes, or 5 to 20. Okay. Let's add up your sleep score. Amanda, 65, 70. Oh, nice. Hey, good job. 45. Okay. Good. Good. Awesome. Best one. Yeah, it is your best one, Michelle. That's awesome. All right, last one. Sorry, I lied to you guys. I forgot about hydration. Okay. Hydration. Your urine color most afternoons is light pale, never, rarely, most of the time or always? How often do you go pee? Once a day, twice a day, once to twice a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, or 5? I know we often don't add these things up until we're like, oh, wait a second. Do you feel thirsty most of the time, often, sometimes, rarely? Do you wake up with a dry mouth or a headache? Most days, often, sometimes, or rarely? Okay, add up your hydration score. So if you're getting more than 100, you probably added wrong. You should be getting 100 at the most. Oh, is there only 4 questions for that one? Let's go back here. I think so. Oh, I missed one. Okay. So we'll have to do some different math on that one. Add up your score anyways. See if it's on. I don't think it's on the last slide. I must have forgotten to put it on there. Oh, well, only 4 questions for hydration. Okay. So now what we're going to do, that we've dug a little bit deeper into each zone of health, I'm going to get you guys to draw that circle again or grab your worksheet if you have your worksheet. And you're going to draw your 5 zones one more time. This time you're not taking an educated guess. This time you're going to draw a line in, but looking at the numbers that you just pulled up. So go through again and write your little mindset, movement, water, sleep, and food in there. And go through, and if you got like an 80% for mindset, I want you to put your line around like the 80% mark. Do the same sort of thing. And I want you to compare it to what you had before. And if you can throw in the chat what you noticed, if one was way different than the other, or were you pretty bang on with your self-assessment before you dug deep into the quiz? And for the water one, you'll just have to give yourself the best out of the 4. So when you're done, just grab a sip of water. Show me that you're finished. Awesome. Okay, good. Great. Did anyone have a huge difference between their first wheel and the second one? Yeah, Lucy, shaking your head. Yeah, oftentimes when we first do it, it's really like we actually think some ways we're doing a lot better than others. And when we actually dig deeper, wait a second. So this quiz, I'll give you guys access to it online. So you can go back and do it every once in a while to see where you're at and how things have changed. But now what we're going to do is we're going to create some goals with this information that you have. So I want you to look at one of the 5 zones and pick one that you want to create a health goal around. You can go back and choose your first goal that you wrote down at the start of the talk. But if you want to create a new one, now that you've answered a whole bunch of questions, then go ahead and just make your decision about which zone you really want to focus on. It doesn't have to be the one that is needing the most help, just whichever one you feel called to right now that you're like, okay, I want to spend a little bit of energy and time on this one. Okay. My little bicycle person. So What we're going to do with this is we're going to create a SMART goal. Have you guys heard of SMART goals before? Yeah, some of you. Awesome. So SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-based. So can somebody throw their health goal in the chat? You want to share? So I'll give you my example. Like when I looked at my wheel, for example, when I was doing the weight loss goal, I thought I was starting with like maybe nutrition, right? When in fact, I was working with my mindset zone. And my SMART goal that I made around that was that I'm going to spend 10 minutes in the evening, Monday to Friday after supper with my kids, playing cards or board game or something just for fun to start to build that relationship with them. Amazing. So Karen says, I'm going to walk 10 minutes every day over my lunch hour. Fantastic. Karen, do you want to unmute yourself? Do you mind sharing how you came to that goal?
Well, Dr. Luck helped me come to that goal earlier today.
This is not set up, I promise. This just happens to be Karen's here.
I had an appointment with her earlier today, and we were talking about how I wanted to increase the amount of movement I was doing, and how I've had several practitioners tell me, Karen, taking your dog for a walk does not count. Like, you're not doing it for yourself. You're stopping and picking up the poop and, you know, stopping when he wants to stop. So you got to get out there and do it for yourself and get a good brisk walk in. And I had originally set a goal of going out twice a week. And I thought 30 minutes was a good amount of time, and I just wasn't doing it. So I got out like maybe once a week if I was lucky. So yeah, we talked this morning about maybe that wasn't the best goal for me right now, and maybe something more achievable, like starting with 10 minutes. And I thought, oh, well, I could get that in while the kids are at school. I could just pop out over my lunch. So I did it today. I did a small loop in my neighborhood. It was 14 minutes. So
Yay!
I'm going to try and do that every Monday to Friday. And over my lunch allows me to just, no one will be looking for me from work and the kids will be at school. So I'm going to try and do that.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Karen. Yeah, a lot of times when we start with goals, like when I chatted with Karen this morning, she's like, I'm just going to start exercising more. You know, I'm going to start walking more. I'm like, oh no, it's not going to happen unless we can really zero down and make it more specific and time-based, right? And that's what we ended up doing. I'm so glad to hear you managed to get out this afternoon. That's so awesome. So I hope by now you guys have all written down what zone of health you want to work on, and also what your SMART goal is. And if we had more time, we would do more of them together, but I don't want to keep you guys here late. Okay, so feel free to come back to this. This is a lot of what we do one-on-one, but it's also a lot of what we do in the membership that I'm going to talk to you guys about. I have a membership for people who are looking to transform their health for exactly this reason. All right. Oh, I see like a little kitty cat or something there. Okay. Focus, Jen. Focus. So by now, on your worksheet or on your piece of paper in front of you, you should have your health goal, your obstacles that you're running into, what your core values are, your first diagram of your health wheel, all of your scores, your new health wheel, and then your SMART health goal. So we've probably been chatting for about 45 minutes. Look at everything you have accomplished in just 40 minutes. You have really summarized a lot of what has been keeping you from achieving a health goal. And that's exactly the process and the step that you need to put in place on a regular basis. You don't just create one goal and then walk away. It doesn't work that way. It's something that you have to keep coming back to over and over again. So one of the things that I find that ends up happening with people is they'll say to me like, well, that's great. It works fine when I work with you, but how do I actually keep doing something like this? Now what? Now what, Dr. Jen? So now what? Everybody has a bathroom. Everybody has a mirror. I know you guys all have a mirror. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to take that SMART goal that you wrote out for yourself tonight. You're going to put it on a sticky note or a really cute piece of paper or something. And you are going to stick it on your mirror. And every morning when you go into the washroom and you go for your pee, you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to read your SMART goal to yourself. You need to recommit to it every single day. and remind yourself that it was a commitment that you made. And if it's truly a really good goal, it's a SMART goal, and it's tied to your core values, it's going to be super easy for you to actually make that happen that day. But you do have to remind yourself to do it. Okay. So if you're looking for more information like this, I often have patients say to me, I don't know even what I need to start or what I need to do to improve my health. Then you really need to work with somebody one-on-one, whether that's a nutritionist, a naturopathic doctor, obviously I'm biased. Then you need to find someone who's going to help you figure out what those root health issues are and the health goals that you need to put in place. So of course I did need to figure out that I needed to avoid certain foods, but once you have those goals, then that's when you're ready to start using something like this system on it so that you actually follow through and stick to those health goals. The other question I get asked a lot is basically, I've seen a naturopath and I have a laundry list of things that I know I need to do, but I don't know where to start. And so you need to start where we started tonight, with something super small and tangible. So like Karen's example, even just 30 minutes twice a week was too big of a goal. She needed to break it down into something smaller and more specific. And then the last question that people always say is, how do I keep myself accountable? This is the $1 billion question. And it's basically because of this that I created a group, a membership called the Somerset Sisterhood. So you don't have to be a patient of the clinic to join us. This is open to anybody in the public, but it's really for people that are looking for that next step of accountability. So if you enjoyed what we did here tonight, answering questions, sharing your story, all of that stuff, that's exactly why I created the membership. Because when we're working one-on-one in the visit, it's often really intense and we are kind of digging and uncovering the things that you need to be doing. We don't really get to the part of like, how are we going to implement this and stick with it? And we always stick to things better when we're in community and when we're accountable to each other. And so that's basically why I created this membership, to accomplish all of that. So we have monthly get-togethers. We're going to get together next on Tuesday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. And we go through similar things to this, but we also dive into a health topic so that you learn a little something. And then we break out into groups to keep each other accountable. So it's the first Tuesday evening of each month. I would love to have you guys join and have you there. We're only keeping the membership open for a couple more weeks, and then we're going to close it down because we want everybody moving through together. We don't want to keep having new members come in. So I want to remind you guys about my lovely picture of me in Paris, because if I had an accountability membership program like this 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have wasted one of my nights in Paris sitting on the toilet and lying in bed, basically. So I'll tell you a little bit more about what you get as part of the membership. So you basically have monthly meetings with everybody. You can check out the link there. Natasha, could you put the link if people want to click on it? And there's a little bit more information on that page as well. The goal is really to keep you guys inspired. It is virtual right now, but I'm looking at finding space that we can do some things in person as well. So probably eventually it'll be hybrid. You could come in person or virtual. I always prefer in person. I know virtual works well for both people, so we'll probably always keep a little bit of both. We have a lot more events apart from just the monthly meeting. Natasha, for example, teaches her Nia dance class in the membership. We have Pilates, we have yoga, we have hypnotherapy, we have live coaching. It's pretty amazing. Thanks for putting that there, Natasha. The other thing, I know a lot of you guys scored pretty low on your nutrition, so we take care of that for you. At the beginning of each month, you get a nutrition plan. So you get sample meals and recipes and all of that. You also get a 4-module course called What Every Patient Needs to Know. And so this goes through all of the foundational parts like nutrition, movement, mindset, and sleep. Really, it takes away like 4 appointments that I don't have to go through with patients because they're doing the course on their own. There's a series of videos you can watch and a workbook that goes along with it. And then we also have one of the doctors hosting a class to answer any questions that you have as you go through the modules. So you're always like super supported. Is it for women only? Great question, Keith. Sent to you. So yeah, so no, it's not for women only. Anybody's invited to join. If you feel like this is a space that you can learn from and participate in, anybody is welcome to join by all means. And one of the things that we offer as a perk is you get 10% discount off supplements in the online dispensary. So you can order supplements and have them shipped to you. So we just set you up with that for any products that you need to purchase, basically. And that's the monthly meal plans recipes that I already mentioned. And then a bajillion other things along with it. So I'm pretty excited because we decided that we really want to kind of close the doors in a couple weeks and not keep having people joining in there all the time. So the doors are closing on April 24th. It looks like somebody has access to my presentation somehow. I'm not sure how that happened. Drawing lines on my presentation. So we're dropping the price. This is going to be the lowest price it's ever going to be at $39.99, and you will be locked into that price as long as you're still a member. If you feel that you can't afford this, we never want to turn anyone away who feels like they need this kind of support. So we do have some subsidized spots. So just click on the button that says apply for subsidized spot. It's all confidential. It just asks you a few questions and then we'll reach out to you and figure something out. So don't let cost be a barrier for you. So there's a couple of gifts that we have for you tonight. I don't know if Natasha mentioned it in the newsletter, but as a thank you for attending, we're putting all of your names into a draw for a free month in the membership. You do get a free month trial right now, so you'll get that free regardless. But if you win the draw, then you get a second month free, basically. So all of you guys will be in there. If we draw your name and you don't want it, feel free to pass it along to somebody that you think could benefit from it. And then the second bonus is a gift certificate to the clinic. So for those of you guys that are looking for a little bit more one-on-one time, maybe you're still not really clear on what changes you need to make to improve your health, then we're going to give away a gift certificate for a free 30-minute assessment to the first 3 people who join. I can't give it away to more than 3 people. It won't necessarily be with me. It might be with one of my colleagues at the clinic as well. And that's valued at $179. So if you think this sounds good to you, if you're interested in being part of like a bigger community of people and really like moving your health forward, then sign up and get the $179 gift certificate. So the link there is down below. I'm happy to answer questions if you guys have any about anything we talked about. I know somebody had a question about how to figure out what foods you need to eat. So if you want to unmute yourself, I'm happy to answer that question. And I know we're like a little bit over time, so if you guys need to go, that's totally good. I'm going to share this with you too. A lot of the content for tonight's talk I got from this amazing book that I read called Burnout: The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. It is a fantastic read. I highly recommend it. We have a book club as part of the membership, and this is the book that we're reading this month. But I still suggest picking it up and reading it. It's really a fantastic book. So any questions? Anyone want to pop a question in the chat, or you can unmute yourself? And I'll leave you with this quote while
I'm just going to unmute for a minute while my Wi-Fi is stable, because my Wi-Fi has been off and on tonight.
Oh, has it been?
I just wanted to thank you so much. That was an excellent presentation, and wow, what an amazing prize and giveaway. I'll send out the link to everybody tomorrow. So the link to the recording will go out. Maybe we can throw the questionnaire into that email.
Yeah.
And we'll look after the giveaway as well.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
thank you so much. That was an excellent presentation. And yeah, the sisterhood is excellent. I encourage people to visit that. You can always check it out on the website and see what it's all about, but it's definitely worthwhile.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thanks everybody so much for joining us tonight. We'll stick around for a few minutes in case people have questions.
Yep, I'll hang out here if anyone does. Thank you. You're welcome. Sylvia says she's having a hard time. I don't see where I can click raise subsidized. Sylvia, you can send me an email if you want to info@Somerset Health, and I can get you started. You're welcome, Jenny. Happy Easter. Awesome. Yeah, Andrea, for sure.
Where's the clinic?
See, Cindy. Yeah, the clinic is right downtown. We're at Elgin and Somerset. We do a lot of virtual visits though these days, so we can really service anybody in Ontario. Hi, Meg. Good to see you. So many familiar faces. You're welcome, Amanda.
Thanks, everyone.
Food. Oh, there. Yes, Nicole, you were the one that asked about the food allergy testing. How many appointments would that normally take? So food allergy testing, we usually do through blood test. So it's just one appointment. You just go get your blood test done and it takes an appointment to review the results with you. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Yeah, $39.99 per month, but you get the first month for free so that you have a chance to try it out and see if it's right for you. So you're welcome, Sylvia. It's good to see you. Yeah, Donna, that's awesome. You got your husband there. That's great.
It always helps when partners are on board, for sure.
I know, right? When you make these kinds of changes, it's so much better to make them all together, for sure.
Yeah. I loved how interactive this presentation was.
Oh, good.
So many presentations are, just that. They're a presentation, they're a webinar, lots of great information, but I really enjoyed the interaction.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I feel like for me to keep my attention, I need to be interacting. Thanks, Mom. I feel like I need to be interacting. So I always want people to walk away with some juice,
Absolutely. Well, it makes it more practical for sure and more personal.
Yeah. Thanks, Keith, for coming.
Okay. I guess we
Awesome.
will close the Zoom room.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Natasha. This was fun.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
I look
forward to
doing
having
it
you
again.
back. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Okay. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.